Welcome back, lovely souls. I'm Jess Glow, and today I'm going to be talking about something that hasn't been talked about, wasn't talked about for a long time, but recently has come up a lot and has become more of a problem and needs to be fixed, basically. But before I get into that, I want to let you guys know, if you're new here, welcome. And if you are a returning subby, thanks for watching another one of my videos. I appreciate it. Alright, well, so today's video is actually in collaboration with Aprilnewlyme and Let's Talk Tea about ultimate living. So we're all going to be talking about colorism today. So if you haven't looked at their video, definitely go look at it, check it out. Just learn what you can if you don't know about what it is, or if you already know, hopefully you take something from it and, you know, can help spread awareness about this, because literally there's way too much going on right now. We don't need to be tearing each other down, as well as within our own culture too, outside and inside of our culture. All right, so yeah, let's jump right in. So colorism is defined as the discrimination against a person's, the shade of a person's skin color. You see this a lot more often nowadays. I mean, it's always been around, but even more recently we've actually started talking about it, because it used to be something that wasn't even talked about. So if you look at the movies, for example, that came out, even movies, just like representation of Black people in general, way back then, if you did see a Black person, they were usually a light-skinned Black person that you would see. If you saw a Black person represented in media, they were usually surrounded by like these negative connotations, like, I don't know, being more aggressive, less desired, added like a lot of negative characteristics as compared to light-skinned Black people with, you know, being more desired. They're usually associated with more of a beauty and status. So historically speaking, colorism started around slavery, back when slavery was in society. So you were either in the house as a slave, or you were outside the house as a slave, working in the fields. So usually if you were inside the house as a slave, that meant that you were either already of fair complexion, you were lighter skinned, because that's what the slave owners preferred back then. So there were a lot of different forms of discrimination that people used through tests. In the early 1900s, there was the paper bag test that based skin color on the color of a paper bag, as well as the ruler test, where they would also, you know, determine how straight a person's hair was, and that would determine if they would be included or accepted into different like upper societies, like universities, for example. For the light-skinned individuals, a lot of the time, I don't know how like prevalent, how high statistically speaking this happened, but usually the light-skinned Black people that worked inside the house were either victims of, the light-skinned Black people that worked inside the house were either victims of or like products of sexual assault. So, and I mean, they would sexually assault the women and the men, because I know it didn't just happen with women. I know that it happened with men too. But those children that they had would stay in the house because they preferred to have them in the house, since that was their offspring. They didn't want to like just be blatant and say, oh, that's my kid, and treat them like how they would treat their white children. But they also didn't want them outside in the fields, because, I mean, that's their kid. Those are their kids. So they would keep them inside. So there became this preference, which it's really, to me, it looks like it was a tactic to like divide us even further from what we've already been divided, by having the lighter skinned Black people inside doing more of the domestic side, still slaves, but still doing like more of the less intense work inside the house, while they had like a lot of like darker skinned Black people out in the fields working with way worse conditions than the slaves that were treated inside the house. They were generally treated a lot better than they were treated outside. So that created like a form of division with us, because not only do we have this tension now from being divided already, from, you know, not having the life that we're supposed to have, to now being divided not just based off our skin color, but also now the shade of our skin color. So to make matters worse, we were divided in that way too, against each other. So, and I mean, I don't know what it was like back then, but I'm pretty sure like just how it is now, like even there was some like tension, like just interacting with each other in some form of like basically hatred, and like it definitely affected people's mental health, because here you have this light-skinned girl, like maybe even they're not all like I know that everyone's not like this, and when I like start getting into this topic, please know that I have the best of intentions with this video. I don't want to put any negative intentions out there. I come with the best and good intentions. I don't want to like make anyone offended, but you know, people will get offended anyway, so I'm just putting it out there. I'm not trying to offend you, but there might be light-skinned people back then that were in the house that thought they were better because of that reason, because of their slave owners putting that idea in their head that, hey, you know, because you have lighter skin, your curls are looser, I'm gonna keep you in the house. You're still a slave, and I'm still gonna treat you terribly. I mean, maybe they might treat them well, but they're still slaves. They didn't have freedom. But anyway, not all of them, but besides the point. So we had that there, and then so we had this built up, like basically it became a form of self-hatred, because we started to not like the color of our skin because we saw how we could be treated if we were of lighter skin. You see that today. You see that a lot still. It still exists and it's terrible, but it's something that is really still causing division among us when it should not be. It's 2020, we should be all on the same page, all wanting to see each other win, but it's not like that. But yeah, so when I did my research on this, there's two types of colorism. There's interracial colorism, and there's also interracial. Sorry guys, I gotta look at my notes when I say this. There is intraracial colorism and this interracial colorism. Sorry guys, I can't talk. But yeah, so intraracial colorism is when there is a discrimination against someone who has a different shade of skin, but they're part of a different racial group, so white against black. So for example, and then like interracial colorism is when you have an individual that's within the same racial group that's discriminating against someone else within the same group. So that's what I was talking about when I meant that like there might have been like light skin and dark skin too, like people back then that thought they were better because they were treated better because of the color of their skin, when in reality, like, we're literally all the same. But this is still something that is happening today. You see it a lot with, like, in lyrics. If you listen to the music that is played, like, that's really popular, like Kodak Black. Everybody knows about Kodak Black and his his colorist comments that he made about black women in particular. You see it not only in music, basically we see it everywhere, and it's something that, like, what it feels like this is just another form of generational trauma that's been passed on over the century, because that's where we started from. And now you come 100 years later, 100 plus years, and we're still having this issue. Yes, it's being talked about, and I mean, there was some time ago where people started speaking up about their privilege that they had, in particular, like light-skinned individual black people. They would start to identify their privilege and understand how their life has been made a little bit easier just because they have a lighter shade of skin than others. But it's still very prevalent. I mean, there's just from Kodak Black to JT to, like, it's everywhere, and it's terrible because it's affected our mental health in regards to our anxiety that we have and our depression, because we can't live the same life. Like, we don't have the same life as someone of a lighter complexion does. I remember seeing this video by The Guardian on colorism, and one of the girls made like a statement that really stuck with me, where she was basically saying like, hey, like, if I want to go outside one day because I'm like tired and I just want to put my hair in a messy bun and just wear some excuse me, I had a snack break, but like they just put on sweats and like put your hair up and just go out. Like, she can't do that because she was like a darker I mean, she can do that, but she was saying like, because she has a darker shade of skin, like, she would be considered looking messy, lazy, dirty if she did that. But if someone with a lighter complexion did that, they would not get those labels. It would look cute because it is a cute style, but when people of like a darker shade of skin do it, it suddenly has all these negative connotations around it when it should not be like that. I mean, come on, it's 2020. Now, like I said, I don't have any hatred towards anyone. I have I have no hatred towards anyone, but it's like, it's still there, and it's affected a lot of us. Like, I can see why people get anxiety with like things and like don't get the opportunities that they could get. I mean, even though it's gotten better, it's gotten a little better, but it's still there. And like, because we ourselves perpetuate it within our own culture, it just makes it worse. It doesn't make it okay, but it's still there. So this is something that I feel like we really need to work at and actually talk about more often so that we can actually make a change towards it. Because if we keep avoiding the topic and not actually speaking of it with others, it's still gonna be a thing. Nothing's ever gonna change. Like, ever, if we don't start talking about it. We can't just think about it and like, you know, like post about it, or, you know, just, we have to put action towards it. And this is a part of that. I hope that this video today has been informative. I know it's been an intense topic, and this was a harder video to do than I thought, but I am so thankful that I've got the opportunity to talk about this topic with other ladies too. In an effort to really promote some change. I don't know how much change this is going to make, but I know that us putting it out there is going towards a change. Eventually things will get better. It won't be as bad as it has been for the past 100+ years, but now if you didn't know about colorism before this video, now you know. Now you know to be more aware of things. You probably, if you didn't know about colorism, you probably already had some type of privilege. I'm just saying, but it's a real thing. I would love to hear your guys' feedback, your experiences that you've had with this topic. If you like, let's talk. Just comment below. Actually, matter of fact, like this video because you made it this long. Comment on this video because I know you got something to say. You may not say it, but you got something to say. Say it down here. It's okay if it's like something against what I'm saying. Like, this is where we have those type of conversations. Just tell me how you feel about this. And lastly, subscribe because there's more videos to come. I'm going to be doing my talks. I'm going to be expanding on different types of videos because this is really fun for me. But yeah, so let me know what you guys think. I hope you guys are good. Stay well, stay happy, stay positive, and bye.